Hello everybody and welcome to another video, perhaps an immature one from me for today, but something that has truly been winding me up a lot recently and I want to bring some attention to. The footage you can see right now is me playing the hardcore endgame Guild Wars 2 content, or namely trying to get access to it. It should be no news to many people that this game really doesn't have anything very difficult. Yes, dungeons may be difficult for people leveling up, yes, dungeons may be difficult for people with terrible gear and no real sense of the way to complete them, but if you even spend a tiny bit of effort looking into the way dungeons are run, even the more difficult ones such as Arar or Twilight Arbor Aetherpath can be pretty easy to get through. The same can even be said for Fractals. Fractals aren't necessarily super tough, there's a lot you need to know, but in the end the only reason they take a long time for people to complete is because of arbitrary limits in place such as the Clown Car in the Dredge Fractal. The only other type of hardcore content in the game, which the devs started to try to introduce a while back, is the idea of these mega bosses. Gw2 was the first one to come in the game, has since been nerfed to the ground and is very trivial to complete now. And the new one, which came out only shortly after New Year's, is what I'm attempting to play right now in the footage in the background. This is Triple Trouble in Blood-Tide Coast. And so last night, my guild decided, right, we're going to try and run the Triple Trouble Wurm. I arrived for this event 45 minutes early, earlier even than that, just to make sure I could get a spot on the specific mega server that we were going to be killing the worm on. I arrived that early because I knew that we'd have a large community of people also coming in to try and get credit for completion of the kill. The thing is, each map in Guild Wars 2 can only hold 150 players, at least for Blood-Tide Coast. That is the cap in place. That is also what the worm is generally designed around number-wise. That means we're getting 150 people into this map, capping it out, and now nobody else can join. As I say, I arrived 45 minutes to ensure I wouldn't have to go through any of this frustrating gameplay that you can see right now, and yet that was not sufficient. What happened? I went away to make myself a tuna salad, returned to the game to find that I had been kicked. Now I am unable to return to my guild's overflow because a bunch of people who arrived later than I did to the event have now taken my slot. I'm instead faced with the daunting task of playing right-click join on. This is Guild Wars 2. If you want to do the big hardcore end stuff, this is what it is for many players. I was not the only person locked out of the event and trying to brute force my way in. In fact, I would hazard that all the other people you can see in the footage right now around me are doing much of the same thing. See, because there is a 150-man cap on this map in the game, and because the content was designed to be completed by 150 players, there are always going to be people who are locked out. Because the devs don't allow us to pop our own instances or easily choose them through some kind of district list system, there is no way to predefine, say, 130 assured guildies who want to get in, and then have the final slots filled up just by pugs and random passers-by. Because none of these things are in place, and because there is, most importantly, no way of queuing into a map in Guild Wars 2, how you would say queue into World vs. World, we're all left doing this. Lots of players are stuck trying to ferry into the map. You right-click on someone in your party, you choose to join them on the map, and then you mash the spacebar so that you can get rid of the prompt that tells you the world is full as quickly as possible. The devs did at one point have queues in this game for PvE maps, but they seem to have been removed with the introduction of mega servers, and as far as I can see, there is still no sign of real queues ever coming in. It's a huge problem right now, a very frustrating problem, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Instead of being angry that I had to dedicate all this focus just to try and brute force and get lucky ahead of someone else, by filming it, it sort of made it better the longer it took me to get into the map, so you could really just see the frustrations therein. That's it, that's all I really had to say. I wanted to put this up for posterity. Hopefully the devs are seriously working on this, and I'd love to hear any of your solutions, guys, to this problem. It's quite clear they're not going to give us districts. It's quite clear that they're not going to let guilds wholly own instances and pop instances of their own that only guildies can join them in because they find that too exclusive. They're going for this weird kind of middle ground of hardcore mega boss content where they want structured guilds to be able to complete it, but they also want there to be opportunity for randoms around the game who might be leveling to also stumble upon it at the same time and complete it. And I feel like these two worlds just cannot mesh together. Their attempts to make them work together is why we have to go through stuff like this. You have to ask yourself a question: is this fun? What was Guild Wars 2 based on? It was based on the idea in many regards that people shouldn't be waiting around to have fun. The first game had tons of that, and they made a lot of decisions to try and eliminate that in Guild Wars 2. And yet, what have they got in full force here in a completely unfair, biased system that depends on who can click the most or set up a macro to brute force their way in? They have the same thing, and there's been no comments on it whatsoever. I'd love to hear, as I say, what you guys think about the issue and what can be done. As for the rest of the video, I'm going to let it roll. Kudos to you if you can actually watch all of it. Consider this is around 3 minutes. Just try it, I'm asking you. Watch 3 minutes of this and see how bored you get. And keep in mind, some people are doing this from 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, even an hour is not unheard of this. This is Guild Wars 2, and it needs to change.